Welcome back to the fields of Perthshire. Well, behind me, yes, there's a field, but there's also a very old trackway which has its roots away back in the medieval period. So this has been a trackway for probably 8, maybe even 900 years. And I have just got permission for the field off behind it, which has got great potential. It's the former gallows, medieval gallows of the nearby village. So fingers crossed, maybe we'll find something good. In the meantime, another shout out. 19,000 subscribers. Unbelievable. So welcome to the new subscribers and thanks for all who are supporting me. So this is the field. This is as much as I can show you, I'm afraid. I don't want to give away my location. But this area is full of history, absolutely full of history. We've got a medieval village just about 400 metres away, which dates back to between 1080 and 1100. We're on a site of an old gallows which was in use through to the 1700s. We've got a spring that runs down the side of the field that comes from the village. Just so much potential. I've been desperate to get on this field for 20 years, and as I say, the first time that it's ever been detected. So let's see what happens. Okay, well, I have literally walked 6 feet and we've got the first digger. It's a mid-tone. 63, there's a bit of iron in there as well, so hopefully it's not just a big lump of iron, but I always do a live dig on the first hole. Well, we're out. We're out, and I think we've got iron and we've got something metal as well. As usual, I'm on program 3, sensitive full tones, and all I've done is ground balance, change to square tones. What have I done with it? Right, oh, what's that? Well, there we go. All this talk of medieval this and 4,000-year-old Bronze Age that. And our first target, our first signal, is a ring pull. Welcome to the world of metal detecting. Barely 1 minute later, 58. Could be the dreaded tinfoil, could be a button. Well, we're out again, so not deep. It's nothing worse than digging junk that's deep. That almost looks like a coin. That is a coin. Or a button. Ah, it's a button. Well, it's a button, but it's a nice button. It is a nice button. Sounds like there's more than one signal. No, there isn't. That was weird. Anyway, we've got a first good target. You see, I do like buttons. It's a tomback of some description. Let's give it a wee rub. Looks like it's had a couple of upgrades. It's been reused. Someone's put a couple of holes in it, probably because the shank broke, and they've probably put a couple of holes in to make it usable again. But it's a nice little tomback button. Tomback is because the metal it's made from, it's zinc and tin and something else, copper, and they gave it the name tomback. So these are from the time of George III, roughly 1700s, 1760, 1820. So that's a good sign of some age. We've got 2 signals, one here, which is a screamer of an 87, and one here, which is a mid-tone 44. This is either something good or it's something junk on the surface. In fact, what's that right there? That's it right there. It's something that looks like it's kind of been set on fire. It's got a little screw fitting on the back, so I don't know, some sort of agricultural junk, unfortunately. Let's stick that in my pocket and try this mid-tone. 44, it's a bit low for a hammered, but I won't say no. We're out, but it doesn't sound very good. Almost sounds a bit like coke, but this machine's normally pretty good at cutting that out, and it is the dreaded tinfoil. Damn. Okay, this might end up as an outtake. 85. Nice pitch. Coin all day long. First coin of the day. A big penny. Well, not in the first speed full. Oh. As soon as I've said the ground's nice and easy to dig, it's been nothing but harder to dig. So I got that one wrong. Right, last spade full. We're out. Right, it sounds more like aluminium again. Oops, dropped my coil. What's not is big lead. It's a great big lump of lead. Well, it's got the oxidised sort of white colour, so it's been in the ground for a while. And who knows, could be ancient, or just a few hundred years old. It's just a funny shaped melted fragment. No decoration on that. But, you know, it's a good sign of medieval life. It is just my luck that I go and don't film and I get potentially what's been the find of the day so far. A 72. And it was just sounded very junky. Probably it was on its edge, but I think we've got ourselves a cap badge from the Second World War era. I'll give it a wee gentle rub, then I might decide to wash it instead. But that looks like an artillery regiment, because that is a cannon, or the wheel of a cannon. I think it's partly broken, it is a little bit. It's not actually held together with much there at all. So I think off camera, I'll give this a little wash, because I don't think you want to stand there and watch it. Or maybe you will. I'll tell you what, why don't I do it, and then you can tell me in the comments if you would rather just see the finished article. And I'll not do it next time. Right, we have something, some kind of writing. I think I am going to have to turn you off for a second just to let it dry out and bring out the detail with a bendy thumb. So I will be right back. It is literally falling apart, but I think that is it, or it's as good as I'm going to get it at the moment. So I don't know, we've got, it looks like it says we've got doofus something de, was it Gloria, something Gloria, Ducunt. So well, there you go, probably Royal Artillery I'm guessing, but let me know in the comments below. Probably 1939 to 1945. Right next to the cap badge, got a signal right there. I thought it was actually something that was still within the hole, but it was just a centimetre under the surface. It could be a bit of a spindle whorl. It's had a rectangular shape in there, but it's like the shape of or half the shape of a spindle whorl, kind of. And it's made of lead, so who knows, possibly a wee medieval related item. Okay, this is about as much as I can show you without giving away my location, but you'll see that sort of ridge there that starts, it's actually in the middle of the field. It runs from the left, climbing up to the right, and then you see that big rounded sort of hill there in the distance. That right there is where the gallows used to be. So we know it was the site of public execution probably from the 1200s, 1100s, all the way through, certainly to the 1600s, but possibly into the 1700s. And people used to come from far and wide to watch a good hanging back in the days. And they did burn a few witches here as well, just for good measure. And who knows? And they used to display them on the hill for days and weeks afterwards, because it was a raised bit of ground on the entrance to the village, so it was kind of saying to people who were coming from elsewhere, this is what happens if you step out of line. So let's go and have a look, see what we can find. I'm kind of on the downward slope from the old hanging ground, and right here is an ear blower. 77.97, but it's a bit, it's actually a bit erratic. It's also a bit stony. This field was broccoli. You see all these big sort of thick stems. So I have to say the 13-inch coil is doing a good job at cutting through them. So still in the hole. And still got a stone in the hole. Let's try this one out over here. Ah, it's right on the edge of the hole. Well, it's not, I've just knocked it back in. It is, I wonder if that was visible on the last video. I've buried it. What the hell have I done? It is on, there it is. There it is. Well, it's a coin or it's a button. Could be a button. Off you pop. Oh, it's a bit stuck. Well, I think we've got a coin, our first coin. It could be an old one, it could be Georgian. Could even be old Scottish. There's a wee bit of detail coming through, I think. Just a little bit. Oh, I think we might have I think we've got a thistle. The national flower of Scotland. We do, with a crown above it. I think we've got a bobby, which is an old copper Scottish sixpence. And this is going to be old. This is probably going to be from the 1600s. I think there is a head on there looking to the left, which would be Charles the Second, I think. Alright, I'm going to dry this out and get the bendy thumb on it. I'll be right back. The only artefact of any age so far has been the button, which was from probably the 1700s. We've just gone back another 100 years. We have got a little Scottish coppered coin. So you might just be able to make out the thistle in the centre, the crown above, around the edge. Nemo me impune lacessit, who dare meddle with me. And on this side you can just make out a head. There's a nose, an eye, looking to the left hand side. And around the outside edge it would say Carolus de Gracia Brit Ang. No, what would it say? It would say Brit FRA for France et Hibernia Rex. So it would say Charles II, by the grace of God, King of Britain, France and Ireland. And he was on the throne from 1660 until 1685. So we've gone back over 300 years. Brilliant. So it was a copper sixpence with the thistle of Scotland, our national flower, on one side, and wee Charles on the second. Brilliant. Great find. Well done, Deus 2. Sometimes it can take you a while to get a coin and then suddenly you get another one straight after. I'm hoping this is the case. Took me just 1 hour and 10 minutes to get that Charles coin, but right here is a fairly nice sounding 85 Stony. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm not working the top of the hill. I'm detecting round the lower slope with the idea that gravity over the centuries would bring finds down the hill from the higher ground. Famous last words, of course. That's not to say I'm not going to do the top of the hill as well, but I thought for today I'll have a really good scout around. Right, we're still in the hole, but it's a bit stony, so I'm going to get back to you. Well, when you do buy a big coil, you're probably going to have to dig deeper. It's just a shame it was so stony, but we have got coin number 2. It popped out the hole on the last spadeful. About 11 inches down, I think it was probably on its edge. And it's Gorgeous George, so fitting that it's him. He's the most common coin of any monarch that we seem to find. It's a shame it's not Mary Queen of Scots, because I'd be a rich man, but that's another story. So George V, and he ruled from 1910 to 1936. This one's from 1917, which is an important year because that's the year that the United States entered the First World War. This time a 71. 69, 71. Definite button territory. God, more stones. Right, let's try and get that out of there. I think we're out. I think we are out. Oh, there it's there. It's a... Ah, what a nightmare. It's a galvanised nail. Ah. So far, not a lot doing on the side slope. There is a hell of a lot of iron. A lot of iron in the background. This one though, 79, 81. I don't know, it doesn't sound great, but I haven't had a decent target or a diggable target in 20 minutes, so maybe a wee bit better with the top off. Ah, stony ground. Really stony ground. Right, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a live dig on this one. Oh, I just can't get the spade in. Well, let's see if it comes out in there. I doubt it. Right, I'll have to get back to you, I'm afraid. I'm going to have to leave this one in the hole because I don't have the energy to get it out, but I started to use the pinpointer and realised it was long going down into the ground, and I was thinking, my God, could this be like a spear? But I think it's the shaft off of a spade, potentially, because there's something big down that way that's stopping it from coming out. So I think it's maybe kind of like that bit there that I'm seeing in iron, and there's a blade on the end. So it's not going to be old. Hopefully it's not some sort of Saxon spearhead, but I'm going to leave it in the ground. I've got a bit of a tinny, sort of irony sounding 77, 78, but it's been pretty quiet again. Half an hour without a good... I think it's out, maybe. Half an hour without a good target. God, and the ground is even stonier up here. That literally in front of me, that is the summit of the gallows, so that's where the bodies would have been publicly displayed, so that people travelling into the village from the left hand side where there's a major road, and also down to my right hand side where there's another road, they would have seen law and order existed here in Perthshire, or at least in this part of Perthshire. Right, I think we're still in the hole. I might have dug slightly in the wrong place, so be back to you in a sec. I did think it sounded a bit irony, and in the hole now is iron, but over here 72 to 74. Too low for a coin, I think, but probably a button or a bit of lead or something coppery alloy. Ah, it's a button. It's got to be a button. There is a loop right there. Bit of gold gild, sorry, bit of gild on there as well. Soil's quite dry up here. Stony and dry. Well, you can see there's clearly some lettering around there. Might be a maker. No idea. But it's got a very big, pronounced loop still attached. Oh, it's decorated. Oh, very nice. It looks like possibly some sort of griffin on there, I would say. It's just going to need a little minute just to dry out properly. See if I can get any more detail. Be right back. Well, that is as good as it's going to get, but it's still pretty nice, isn't it? So you can see just the remnants of the gild. You can see the green copper colour there coming through as well, but it looks like some sort of bird or griffin with its mouth open and its tongue sticking out, looking to the left-hand side. So that is a nice little livery button. It's definitely something and son. I think it's Firmin. I think it's Firmin and Sons. And then I'm sure there'll probably be a place on there as well. Don't know, I can't quite read it. Something N-O-T. Nunot. I don't know. Might well be something like London and I just can't read it. But yeah, I think it's Firmin and Sons. So that is a livery button. That's probably going to date to 17 or maybe the 1800s. And it would have been worn by probably an estate worker, like a stocker or a farmer for an estate. They would have all had the same sort of waistcoats and jackets that would have often had some sort of armorial reference or animal to the family who owned the land. So we should be able to find out potentially who this family was or who this related to. But that's a nice find, happy with that. I hope it wasn't someone who came to watch a hanging. That's the button, and right here, similar target, 74, we might have another button, maybe. Just going to try and take a clod out here. It's not working. Well, it's out, I think. Yep, we're out. I'm sounding a little bit rough now. That's because I maybe threw it on a patch of iron. Oh, I've moved it. Somewhere. Oh. There it is there. Is that it? No. Is that it or not? Oh my god. What am I doing? That is a stone. I don't understand. I picked it up, I must have dropped it. Not like me. Oh my god, I see it. I think it's silver. Not only is it silver, I think it's hammered. It could be hammered. Oh, it is. That is a hammered coin. That is a hammered coin. Well, when somewhere's got lots of history, you sometimes expect maybe to find something old and good, but it doesn't always work that way. Right, I think I'll give it a wash instead. Some of the soil's not really wanting to come off. You beauty. Is it Scottish? It could be, you know. It could be maybe a Charles or a James. It's English. See at the top, London, London. And then on that side, it says Civi, C-I-V-I-T-A-S, TAS, City of London. So this was minted in London. It's an English coin. It's hammered though. Top right, the 3 lions of England, you can just make out. Bottom left as well. And then top left and bottom right are the fleur-de-lis. Now I think it's going to be Elizabeth. And I think it is somewhere. Ah, there she is. Looking to the left hand side, you can see a crown at the top there. And there's also 2 dots, 1, 2, there and there. And that means it's a 2p, or what they called a half groat. Sorry, just try and get you better in focus. Now around the outside edge, I think it says something like Eliz DG de Gracia Rosa Sine Spina, and that means Elizabeth, by the grace of God, a rose without a thorn. There you go. Now, when was she on the throne? She was the daughter of Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII. And she became queen. English history, not quite as good as my Scottish history. I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm going to say 1568. Let's say 1568. I do know when she died though. She died in 1603. Because Mary Queen of Scots, who was her cousin, who she also had killed, in 1587, she had her head chopped off, having kept her captive in England for 20 years. But Mary Queen of Scots' son, James VI of Scotland, who'd been our monarch since 1567, he became the King of England in 1603. And the reason that happened is because his ancestry hailed from Margaret Tudor, and Margaret Tudor was the sister of Henry VIII. So they were all related, families at war, literally. And her mother, Anne Boleyn, she didn't do very well either. She got her head chopped off for conspiracy and adultery and all sorts of things, because Henry VIII wanted a new bride. So there you go. That's a cracking find. Over the moon with that. Who knows? Dropped by someone who came to watch a hanging. I'm right on the summit, and this was a really faint signal. It didn't sound particularly great, but as ever, take the top off, take more and more out, and now it's a cracking 81, but it's still in the hole, and it's hard digging, so I'll get right back to you. Well, you might be able to tell by how out of breath I am, and that was tough digging, very stony, but this popped out deep again, about 9 to 10 inches probably, maybe even 11, but it's George VI this time. It's a halfpenny, ship's halfpenny, and you can just make out the date at the bottom, 1946. So George VI was the king from 1938, was it? I think it was 38. His brother abdicated. His brother Edward, he abdicated so he could marry the divorcee Wallis Simpson, and he then was thrust to be king, and his wife was Scottish in ancestry, the Bowes-Lyons from Glamis, which is in Angus, about 30 miles away from here. There you go, another coin. This one is a nice one. This is within the realms of a coin. '88, '89, silver, 50% milled, maybe. Tin can, could be. You know me, anything's possible. Well, so far, not so good. Take a bit out of there. Never easy to do one-handed. Well, I'm in the right place. 4th time lucky. Feeling that, I'll get the pinpointer. Still in the hole. Come on, it's been a while since I've had a good target. a stone. So we're still in there, but I'm going to get back to you. It took a fair bit of effort, but eventually I found it. George V, Gorgeous George, and it is a small one. It is a threepence, or a 3p. 1933, so it's 50% silver, give or take. You can see the oak leaves on the reverse and the little oak, what do you call them? Oak nuts? Oak seeds? Anyway, 1933, so between the First and the Second World War eras. And George died just 3 years later, 1936. He was, in fact, killed by his own doctor, who felt it was more fitting to announce his death in the morning papers rather than the afternoon. So there you go. Nice way to go. Another mid-tone. 6770. Could be lead, could be copper, could be a button. It's deeper again. Surprising. The last fields I've been in, most of the targets have been fairly shallow, but this field, it's a bit of lead, I think. Bit of lead pipe. Ugh. It is, well, a bit of lead, whether it's lead pipe or not. No, I think it's a folded sheet of lead. But who knows? Could be ancient, could be medieval, could be pretty new. Well, newish. 53 this time. And I just seem to be on a run of junk at the moment. Suspect this is probably going to be foil. But you gotta dig 'em. Well, we're out. There's iron in the hole as well. This whole area seems to be pretty infested with iron. So this whole area seems to be pretty infested with iron. But we're out the hole. And I've lost it. Oh, it's there. That's it. What did I tell you? Damn. Tinfoil. That was the tinfoil, which may or may not make it into the outtakes. Probably not. But right here, 74. Pretty consistent 74. And also stony ground, yet again. Let's see if we can get a clod out. It's quite soft soil, so it's kind of crumbling apart. Ah, big stone. Big stone again. Well, it's not easy to dig, is it? Please be shallow. It's shallow. And it's out. And it's still sounding pretty good. But yeah, it's nice soil in terms of it's quite dry. Quite gravelly. Where's it gone? My hearing isn't great because of my cold. Oh. 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 It is. It's a hammered coin. It is, isn't it? Come on. That is another hammered coin. Look at that. That is going to be early. That is going to be probably 13th or 14th century, I would say. Looks like a silver penny. Let's get the spray bottle out and have a closer look. So chances are this coin has not seen the light of day in 700 years. And that is a beauty. Oh, it's a cracker. Look at the condition of that. And on the other side, please be as good. Ah, it's a bit worn, but it's still... Well, you can tell who it is. Welcome to Edward I. Longshanks, as he was also known, because he had incredibly long legs. the man who sentenced William Wallace, our very own Braveheart, to death, to be hung, drawn and quartered in 1305 for treason. That is beautiful. That is why we detect. Right, I'll dry it out, and then I will get right back to you. That is beautiful. Well, say hello to my little friend. This is Edward the First. So he ruled from sometime in the middle of the 13th century. I'm going to take a guess at it, and I'm going to say 1267. And he ruled until his death in 1305. And you can see him right in the middle of the coin, wearing a crown, looking straight at us. That is beautiful. So that coin probably from the middle of the 13th to the very beginning of the 14th century. From the time of Robert the Bruce, William Wallace, and the Black Douglas, all these famous figures from Scottish history. And like the other coin that I got before, it's got a mint mark. Civi, C-I-V-I, T-A-S, Civitas. Now this one is not so easy, it's a bit rubbed, however, it ends in T-O-R. Cantor, it would say, C-A-N-T-O-R. This is from Canterbury. So there you go, Civitas Cantor, City of Canterbury. And that's where this penny was minted. Best part of 700 years ago. What a coin, what a find. Oh, I'm determined to drop it, but it's not going to happen. But that is beautiful. Time is running out. The light is starting to go. I think I've maybe got 10 or 15 minutes. This could be my last signal. Could be, but maybe not. We'll soon find out. 76. Sounds reasonable. Oh, stones again. It's better. Right, 76. Could be a coin, maybe a button. Well, we're out. Still 76, 77. Did I see something round? Well, don't know what I'm doing here. It's in here. Ah, I did see something round. Look at that. It's another ring thing, is it? It is. It's another ring thing. That's 3 of these in 3 digs that I've had from different fields. So is it, as someone suggested, a button? You know, they would weave thread through it. Or is it an annular brooch that's lost its pin? I can't see a notch anywhere. Or is it just a rain guide or something off a piece of horse tack? Who knows? But it's going to be at least 100 years old, and who knows, it could be 4, 5, 6, 700 years old. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Well, ladies and gents, that is us. The ring thing was indeed the last signal of the day, but what a day. What a day. 5.5 hours of detecting. I'm a happy man. So let's have a wee summary of what we found. Well, that is a pretty good haul, isn't it, for a day? And trust me, the amount of junk that I've dug is unbelievable. You forget virgin fields, just how much trash they can have in them, but that's all in another bag that'll go home and into the bin or to be recycled. But having got 4 silver last time out, I've hit triple silver this time. It's unbelievable. So we've got a military badge there, which I'll hopefully identify when I get home. You can see the thistle on my bobby from the 1600s, Charles II. We've then also got Elizabeth I, and that'll probably date to around 1560s through to 1603. It's a 2p. Then the oldest find of the day, a beautiful Edward I hammered medieval silver penny, minted in Canterbury in England. And then final silver, a beautiful little George V, 3p from 1933, 50% silver. And then also a George VI halfpenny and a George V penny, buttons, bits of lead, lots of other things. But I'm a pretty happy man with that. You cannot complain when you get a coin from silver from the 1930s, 2 coins from the 1900s, and then you just start to jump back in time. 1600s, 1500s, probably the 12 or early 1300s. Fantastic. So hopefully you enjoyed that day's digging at the Gallows, which was fantastic. And I've not even scratched the surface. I guarantee I haven't even covered 1% of this field yet. So thank you for 19,000 subscribers. Unbelievable. And thanks for watching. If you don't already, hit the subscribe button and we'll see you on the next dig. Thanks for watching.